there's so much history and so much that was put into the footprint of Black people is so big in this city, and the so it's that's a responsibility that I have as well, is not to squander all of the work that people put in so that I can own a business one day, and I what I'm saying, I can do all these things. And so part of that is making sure that I look out for other people as well, and making sure that I'm not just out here trying to be the best rapper and look the coolest or make the most money, but really be intentional with people, and help change people's lives in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey, Jabee, welcome to the Entrepreneur Studio.
Thank you.
Good to have you here, man.
Thank you for having me.
And we've heard a lot of really good things about you. I had that conversation with Jonathan Dodson, and he mentioned you, and the team was like, "We got to talk to this guy."
Yeah.
So glad to have you here. And we were just sitting down, getting to know each other a little bit. And one of the things that I think is really interesting is you've led a successful music career, successful business owner, and those all came from somewhere, and now they're intersecting. So maybe talk to me a little bit about how those things came to the point in your life to being what you're doing today, right? How did those intersections happen?
It's hard because a lot of times I don't even see it like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I've always been into music. I started rapping like at 7 probably. But like you were saying earlier, like music kind of gave me the platform, and the I guess like it helped people know who I am, somewhat. But just with business and everything I do, it's just been kind of like a natural progression, just as I grow, as I get older, and as I have interest in different things, and then also see the need and see where I can be of help in certain ways. And so I try not to just do things just to do it. So whether even with music, like everything I do is intentional. Every song, every theme, it's intentional. I don't write a song. I don't write a song or record a song that I don't intend to use for something. You know what I'm saying? Before I did, I just I always had raps in it, but now like everything's intentional. So the same is true with business. Everything is intentional, and everything needs to have a purpose and a place. And so how it all came together and all happened, I think the best way that I can explain it is that as I grow and as I grew, I just either saw the need somewhere, or I recognized like this is something that I really want to do, and I grew a passion for over time.
So recognizing a need and doing something about it, right? Those are things that happen often for people. They don't often happen at the same time. And that I'm going to say spirit of action that seems to be so clear with you. Where did this thing come from? Where was it like, I'm going to not only see a need, because you got to be paying attention to people, to situations, to communities, right? You got to be able to see the need. So there's something was a spark for you there, and then the sort of spirit of action to do something about it, right? Where did those kind of initial sparks kind of come from for you?
Just from coming where I come from not having nothing, growing up and being one of those people who are in need, like even with music, wanting to tell my story and wanting to tell the story of people whose voices don't get heard oftentimes, and wanting to connect with people in that way. And the same with business is like, or things that I see that I can, jump in and help. It's like, oftentimes I've been on the other side, and so I know what it's like. And so like that's where it comes from, is that, I come from a place where we never have had anything. And I come from a place where anything we did have, we had to like scratch and scrape and struggle to get it, and so I know what it's like to, need those resources or need these things. So because I've been on the other side, then, if I can in any way, be someone to help or provide a resource or whatever in some way, then I feel like that's part of my responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I remember whenever I first started this thing I do called gift wraps, and it's like a Christmas give back event, like a charity event, and we partner with a local nonprofit, to raise money, to get food, to get clothes, and turkeys and things like that during Christmas time, and like. And that came from that. I like just like me doing that came from, being a kid where, oftentimes, most times, Christmas time is like a happy time for most people.
Yeah.
But I come from a place where Christmas time was a stressful time. You know what I'm saying? And that was like the hardest time for not just our family, but just to be living in the neighborhood we live in, because that's when people start breaking in your house. That's when people start, breaking in your cars and kicking your doors in and stuff like that, because everybody is going through the same thing and needing and wanting things and not having nothing, you know what I'm saying? And so we've been that family before where, we stand in line for the turkey baskets and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So, like, is what I'm trying to say is, my experiences in life and the things I've dealt with in life oftentimes help me to pay attention and see those things.
That's good.
And see where, in whatever small role I play, or whatever small position I have, I can do something to help and, be there for people who I know need those things. And it just comes from, going through it myself most times.
Yeah. So experience, your personal experience is what created that sense of empathy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't end up there.
Yeah.
Right. That personal experience ends up being vendettas, revenge. I'm going to take what's mine, but you turned it into how do I give back? How do I help? Right. That means something that doesn't just happen naturally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not something that happens naturally. I wonder, just kind of hearkening back to, you being an artist, and then not only just being an artist and for the expression of it probably, but to being award-winning. What was that sort of, what did that feel like for you to go from, I'm doing this, now I'm being recognized for doing this work, right?
It's a really good feeling for, it's a really good feeling to get recognized, and you got to understand, like, for me, growing up, I was never the kid who got awards. I was never the kid who stood out. I was never the kid who, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was never, so to have that, it definitely, like, it feels good, you know what I mean? Like, it feels good in your spirit, and it's a different feeling, but at the same time, like, it's you feel blessed because, it's something that nobody can take from you. And people can hate and talk and say whatever, but still, like, no matter what they say, like, you still, like, have done something that is profound. in whatever way it is, and so that's, there's a responsibility in that too, I guess. But yeah, it feels good, and I think that I can. I always think of things like, what will it mean like when I'm not here? You know what I'm saying? And so, I think like that's something that they can put in my obituary. You know what I'm saying? Like that's an accomplishment that not everybody receives. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, I just, like I said, it's a blessing and I appreciate it. But, now there's also some responsibility that comes with that. So
yeah, it's true. And there's something you can do with that platform, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
So, talk to us a little bit about, the East Side's where you grew up, but it's also where you live today.
Yeah.
Right. So talk to us a little bit about, you're doing everything with intention today, right? You've been a musician, artist, I'd say community activist, and you're doing something specifically in the community right now that is like, I'm making an anchor point as a business owner, not just a name or something that someone that people know that happens to be famous, right? So talk to us about a little bit about the story, because I don't know if everybody knows the story of the East Side of OKC. So maybe just give us a little bit of like, here's some background and here's why I chose business as an anchor point.
Okay. The East Side of Oklahoma City is predominantly the largest population of Black people in Oklahoma City. In the past, how they like Greenwood has had Black Wall Street, and we also had thriving districts and businesses. And one of the cool things about ours is a big part of our foundation on the East Side was the music. Charlie Christian, Jimmy Rushing, like Deep Deuce was known for its jazz and its blues. People came from all over the country to play there, to see shows there. Dr. Slaughter had a business in Deep Deuce. He was the first Black doctor in Oklahoma. He was on the East Side. He delivered Ralph Ellison.
Wow.
And he used his business, the building that his business was in, because and he used the rooftop of it for like proms and stuff like that, because those Black kids at Douglas weren't allowed to like rent out spaces for prom. Oh, wow. So they would have, which was probably way better to have your prom on the rooftop. You know what I'm saying? And things like that. So, you have, I said Charlie Christian, Jimmy Rushing, you have Ralph Ellison, you have, of course, Clara Looper, you have Ada Louise Scipio Fisher, you have all these, you have Roscoe Dungy, all these people who are, throughout history, like really thriving and doing things, big things in the community, so you have Deep Deuce, which is, like I said, it was just a booming district for Black people. There was a theater there called the Aldrich Theater, and it was not just a staple in Oklahoma City, but a staple in this region for shows, And then you had 4th Street, and 4th Street had its own, it was its own like thriving, it had businesses over there. Like people like Florence's right on 23rd Street. The original Florence's was on 4th Street. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so, and then you have, of course, 23rd Street, and 23rd Street was like a hub for like, up and coming businesses and salons and, all these barbershops. When you start getting into like the 60s and 70s and the 80s, So And then you have, Roscoe Dunjee, who started the first Black newspaper in Oklahoma City, called the Black Dispatch. And, he used the funds that were from his newspaper. Part of the reason he started the newspaper was to help, the community whenever they went to jail for like being out past a certain time, or
wow.
if it was illegal for Black people to cross a certain street. I believe it was 7th Street. You couldn't, you know what I'm saying? So if somebody went to jail for being out late or, crossing a certain street, then Roscoe Dunjee, was using money that he made from his newspaper to go and get those people out of jail. You know what I'm saying? So, the history of the East Side and just Black people in Oklahoma City is very, very deep. And then we could, just of course, Calvary Baptist Church and Miss Claire Looper and the NAACP Youth Council, and walking from Calvary and Deep Deuce on the east side, walking from there to Cats downtown, you know what I'm saying, marching from there. And then you have the sanitation strikes and all that, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so much history and so much that was put into the footprint of Black people is so big in this city, and the so it's that's a responsibility that I have as well, is not to squander all of the work that people put in so that I can own a business one day, and I I can do all these things, and so part of that is making sure that I look out for other people as well, and making sure that I'm not just out here trying to be the best rapper and look the coolest or make the most money, but really be intentional with people and help change people's lives in a way. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, what made you pick business? Like, what made you pick pizza?
A couple things. So, whenever I first wanted to do a business, because I like I said before, everything kind of started with music. I was thinking I could do a dope hip hop shop and have a space where all these young rappers could come in and perform, sell their music, have a studio, record all these things, And so I remember when I was graduating high school, someone told me, if you want to do something good, get around people who already do it and who can do it great. You know what I'm saying? And so whenever, I'm thinking about this hip hop shop, and being just this dope, hip hop, mecca in the middle of OKC on the east side, I was like, now I gotta get with somebody who's already doing it. And so Dodson and I, we flew to Minneapolis. There's a hip hop shop out there called Fifth Element, and it's ran by a record label, Rhyme Sayers. And so I'm friends with one of the guys on the label, so he set it up so we can sit down and meet with them. And so I'm like, you doing this the best. You my favorite record store, hip hop shop in the country. I want to do what you do in Oklahoma City. He was like, well, shoot, man. To be honest, we probably gonna be going strictly online. The music is different and now than it used to be, and and you're in Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's not the mecca of hip hop at all. You know what I mean? And so I was like, dang, but he was like, if you do something, I'll be glad to help. I'll be glad to, if my artists are on tour, I'll be glad to try to get them to come through, this and that. And so I came back, kind of still thinking I was gonna do it, but kind of understanding this is gonna be a bigger challenge.
There might be some headwinds,
than I thought. I'm just trying to figure that out. And so in the meantime, and in between time, the grocery store on MLK closes down. And and I'm in the community, and I'm hearing and seeing all these things, and pastors and different churches are arranging, buses to take people to the grocery store, and we're giving rides to people to get food, and what I'm saying, like we're trying to figure out bus routes for people to get food and all this wild stuff, and everybody's saying, they done took our store, and they closed the store, and I keep the they and them and they and them, and I'm just like, man, who is they? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, and I was like, us it needs to be us, and so right then is when I decided I wanted to do food. I didn't like the stories and what was being said, like the Eastside is a food desert, and Eastside is a food desert and stuff like that. I'm just like, that's wrong, because if we think about what a desert really is, a real desert is made by God. You know what I'm saying? Like it's natural. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a creation of God. You know what I mean? What we're dealing with was created by man. The resources on the East Side, not having food, not having what we need, you know what I'm saying? The conditions of the East Side weren't created by God. They were created intentionally by man. That's not a food desert. That's a food apartheid. And so part of me understanding that was like, okay, I have to like be part of reversing this narrative and reversing this train of thought, where especially those of us who live on the East Side feel like we have to depend on other people who don't come to the East Side, who don't know anybody, who have never been a part of our community to make decisions for us. You know what I'm saying? And then that specifically came from being in a city council meeting, a small, close meeting. Dodson was there. This is back whenever Councilman Pettis was on the city council, and we are talking to the city council about getting the city's help with, EastPoint, and making sure that this is something that the East Side can really benefit from, and you know what I'm saying, and really getting the city to buy into it. And I'm sitting there, and there's me, Pettis, and I think Sandino, and maybe Q, and everybody else in the room is white. And they're sitting there having a conversation. These people are sitting there in front of us having a conversation of whether or not the East Side should have help, or whether or not this is a good idea. And it messed me up. Like I was just like,
what is happening?
Yeah, because they can't tell you anything about it. They never go over there. They don't know anybody over there. They don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine me coming to your house and telling you how to raise your kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
see, I just pause you real quick. That is to me, that is like the value system that you just talked about where everything came from was personal experience creating empathy, and you're watching people doing the exact opposite.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I can see how that would bother you.
So that's when I was like, okay, well, never again. I don't want to feel like that ever again. So I want to make sure that I'm at every table. I want to make sure that voices of people who often don't get heard are being heard, because for them to have to have a conversation about that is wild, because to me it just makes sense. It's too much like right. You know what I'm saying? That point was when I was like, okay, I gotta do some type of food, And again, I went back to what I was told in high school about getting with somebody who does it good. And so I had a friend in LA. His name is Andy Wynn, and he used to own a clothing label. That's how I met him, like back in '08. And his clothing label was big. Like he was like the first person to put clothes on like Kendrick Lamar and stuff. Like he was like, it was huge. And so he would always send me gear and stuff. So he started doing restaurants and food. He had a couple different concepts. And so Dodson and I flew out there, met with him, and he was really down to do something with us. So we were talking about bringing his concepts to OKC and kind of flipping them, you know what I'm saying, for something dope for the East Side, but not really changing the menu because that's what he did well, but changing like maybe, you know, the feel so it felt more like Oklahoma City, you know.
Yeah.
And so what happened, well, first we were going to do a pokey concept, which I think that was a bad idea. One, because pokey kind of became just like a, what do you call those? Like a novelty. It was here and it was gone, you know. And then we we're going to do burgers, which would have been a great idea. But when COVID hit, you know, we got hit here, of course, and then he got hit in California with a lot of his concepts and had to like pull back. But, you know, I couldn't pull out of the lease because that's, you know what I'm saying, how we had to do it. And so my only experience in food ever was whenever I was in high school. I worked at Pizza Hut, and I worked at Pizza Hut from the day I turned 16. That was my first day at work until I was like 22, and so that was the only food experience I had was that. And so I was like, man, I got
which is a lot. That's a lot of food experience. From 16 to 22.
And so I was like, I gotta do pizza because that's the only thing I know how to do.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Dodson linked me with some guys who were doing another pizza concept, and you know, and that's how it happened. So.
Well, that's something that I thought was really interesting. You know, is you're talking about the lease, you're talking about you know, the need for food and this physical location, how much this grocery store in this physical location was disruptive when it closed, right? And then so you decided, hey, I'm gonna do food and I'm gonna, you know, be an anchor in the community. But the thing that I thought was really interesting, something I read that you had said, was how similar the music industry was to real estate development. Real estate developers. I just wanted to ask you about that and be like, what are the correlations there that you're like, oh man, this is so clear. Here's how the music industry runs, and here's how real estate development runs. And maybe as a leadership level is what you're talking about.
I was thinking like in terms of like when you, especially with hip hop music, the people who make decisions don't come from, you know, the culture of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like the person who's telling, you know, a rapper whether he's good or not isn't a rapper. You know what I'm saying? The person who's deciding what song should be the first single doesn't make hip hop songs, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's, you know what I mean? And so that's what I meant is like, you know, when it comes to like real estate and development, oftentimes it's not somebody who's embedded in that community. It's a opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And not that that's a bad thing, you know, but I think that it's important that, you know, like if it was rap, you know, it's important, or the music industry, it's important if you're the person who has the money or the resources or the record label, and you have to make a decision on what's released or what sounds good. It's important to involve people who live and participate in that culture every single day.
And would likely consume the music.
And who will likely consume the music. So the same thing is true with real estate and development. It's like, you know, if you're the person who has the resources or the money, or you bought the house or you own the building or the property, and it's in a community, it's important that, you know, you involve the people or you do things with the community in mind. Somebody told me one time, what you do for us, without us, you do to us. And, you know, when I think about, you know, especially real estate and development, a lot of times because people have done it before and they're good at it over here in this area, or they're good at it in, you know, whatever, then the idea is that, you know, it's good. It'll be good here too, because it worked over here. So it's going. This is what y'all need. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, all you need is a brewery in your, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, but what people fail to realize is like, you know, if you're deciding for me what's best for me, then you aren't doing, you know, something for me. You're doing something to me.
Yeah.
And what I try to explain, this is what I told Dodson, is that whenever you go into those situations and you're dealing with Black people, especially you're dealing with Black people who come from the type of situations and trauma that, you know, the East Side community has experienced. You know, whether it was segregation, whether it was you know, lack of resources, whether it was over policing, whether it was building a highway through Deep Deuce, whether it was, you know, gentrification, whether it was, you know what I'm saying, all the things that, you know, we can name over the years. You have to understand that those are things that people are going to always, you know, their response to whatever you're doing is going to be based on those experiences. And for Black people, you know, I always I always say this because it's you know, I feel it's true, but I have to be careful who I say it to, because it's like, oh, here you go. But I feel it's true, so I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, go for it.
For Black people in America, since we were brought to this country, we have been told where to go to school, where to worship, how to raise our kids, where to eat, where we could live. You know what I'm saying? Like everything. You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand that's the type of generational trauma that you're dealing with whenever you're just going, oh man, put a brewery here, and you know, all we gotta do is knock down this house and put, you know what I'm saying? Like those are the things, you know, and people are dealing with, you know, displacement and all these things, like all those, you know, it might just seem like the progression of a city to somebody, or development to somebody, but for other people, you know, it's trauma. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I think that, you know, whenever I think about, you know, the parallels of like music, and I was probably talking more so about rap music, but you know, all music, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't like I could tell you what country songs I like, you know what I'm saying? Which ones I like and why I like them, but I'm not an expert on country music. I can't tell you, you know what I'm saying? Like I would be ignorant to tell you, you know, to say like, this is a good country song, this is a bad one, or this person, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't have enough knowledge in country music to have an opinion like that. But you know, I know what I like, and I could say, man, I like this song because of the way it's written. I like this song. And you might be like, bro, that's the worst country song in the world. Nobody likes that song. You know what I'm saying? Just like I was having a conversation with the homie, and I'm telling him, he's like, I'm telling him how, like, you know, what music I don't like. And he says how much he likes Linkin Park. And you know, I'm just like, bro, that's the worst band in the world, fam. Like, who doesn't think that? You know what I mean? But you know, he doesn't, you know, he likes that genre. He could tell you all the other bands that line up, you know, to that style and that genre, and tell you what inspired Linkin Park and all this wild stuff. You know what I'm saying? So because he's sort of an expert in that style of music, who am I to tell him, you know, just 'cause I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So I think, you know, oftentimes like we are because we feel like, well, I'm going back to developers and real estate, because we feel like, well, you know, on this side of town, this is what helped and this is what made, you know, this town pop, right? And, you know, and what I would say is like, yeah, but over here, this community doesn't need that. You know what I'm saying? And only way to know is to involve that community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if they say, yeah, that's what we've been wanting, like that was great. Like we've been wanting a Starbucks, or we've been wanting you know, a brewery over here or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm being stereotypical about gentrification, but
I'm picking up on that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like if they don't, then you got to listen and be like, okay, either how can we compromise, or what is it that you do want? Because if I'm truly not, and this is what people on the East Side are really concerned about the most. If I'm truly not building this for you, then I'm building it for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what people on the East Side are really concerned about the most, because, we're like, well,
This is our home. This is where we live.
And we asked for sidewalks and streetlights, 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? We asked for restaurants 50. We asked for all these things 15 years ago. Now that say like there's white families coming over here, then we got sidewalks. Now that there's more streetlights, and it's like, well, who are you building it for? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it for us, or is it for the family moving from, I don't know,
the suburbs?
Yeah, the suburbs. And you see it and you hear it. Just like now, people don't even refer to the East Side as the East Side. It's like, oh, like growing up, I've always said the East Side, but now people who I could tell if you just move to the East Side, because if I say I live on the East Side, they go, oh, east of downtown. I live east of downtown too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it's not even the East Side, it's east of downtown. It's how you move there so you can get to Thunder games quicker. You know what I'm saying? So, but all those things, I think there's a balance for all of it, but I think that there should be, and within that balance, there should be, conversations, and there should be ways to preserve the integrity and the heritage of what was there. Because if you go to Deep Deuce now, or you go to the what's the other place, Deep Deuce, or the district right next to it,
Bricktown?
No. Going east.
Got it. Yeah.
Innovation District.
Yeah.
There's no way to even tell we were even there. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way to know we were ever even there. You know what I'm saying? And that was all Black. There isn't one Black business down there now. And there's no way to tell that we were ever even, you know what I'm saying? Like, we built it, or, it looks the way it does because of us. You know what I'm saying? Part of that is the reason why I built out Eastside Pizza House on the inside the way I did, was because, like, I don't know what that street's gonna look like in 5 or 10 years. But I do know when you come inside Eastside Pizza House, you're gonna see the history and the heritage of Eastside Oklahoma City.
Yeah. Which is, I'd say a theme for you is preservation, right? The legacy, the preservation of key stories. I'd say inclusion, and in the fact of like making sure the community has a voice. And so that's showing up in your business. And at the same time, I'd say a tactical thing to make that happen is collaboration, right? And I think that you've personified or embodied that for sure with collaborations. Talk to us about some of the collaborations where it's like, you mentioned brewery a couple times, and you don't sell alcohol at your pizza shop because of why?
Because there are other businesses around us who do, and so, I just want to make sure that there's room and space for everybody, and their business is alcohol. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would rather people, get our pizza and then go chill over there at the bar and have a drink. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and that's important, and I've like one of my recent collaborations was with Boomtown Creamery, and we did a ice cream collaboration. And even with that, it was like, how can I help another local business? How can we're both on 23rd Street, and really for her, like she recognized it too, because she was like, she does all these different flavors, and she was going to she wanted to do a Black ice cream, but she was like, well, you know, it's the same ingredient for the black ice cream as for the black pizza. So she was like, why don't I just collaborate with Jabee? You know what I'm saying? And so she hit me up and we collaborated together for the black ice cream. You know what I mean? So uh, instead of just doing it, and you know, and she has this one cool thing that's black, and it's like, well, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause she
connected that dot on
yeah,
purpose.
she connected it on purpose, you know? And so that's, you know, like that's part of it is like seeing those things and seeing those ways that, you know, we can add on to what the next person is doing and not feel like, you know, I gotta be the only one, or, you know, or not feel like if I do this, then it might make what I'm doing look small. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, the collaboration piece is really huge. And so the thing that I was going to ask you is, because of the number of collaborations that you've done, like what is one that you've done? Like, she chased you down for that one, right? She saw that, you know, connected that dot at Boomtown and came to you. What's one that you pursued, and how did you actually just do it, right? How did you get the meeting? And the reason I'm asking this question is there's something that I picked up on, some of the ways that you're happen to be involved in some of these conversations. Like, for instance, you were talking earlier about, you know, you're like, who is they with the grocery store closing down? And it's like, I'm trying to figure out, are these personal conversations with influential people that you're just hanging out with? Or do you set up these conversations? Do you invite other people? What's sort of the secret sauce to get into conversations or get into collaborations that you have?
I think each collaboration is different. Sometimes it's me like saying something wild, like online or in the paper, and then somebody going, I saw what you said. I think you should meet this person.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, or it's me, you know, seeing something kind of how Angela had the idea for the black, but then was like, man, if I do it like this, it could be even better. You know what I'm saying? Some of it is that. And then some of it is just walking into a place and, you know, having an idea and presenting it to them and saying, and I also know, like, I'm not ignorant I'm not ignorant, so I don't think like me walking into a business in Oklahoma City is the same as like somebody that nobody knows walking. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that part of it. But sometimes it is just that, like, me walking in and going, listen, like, I got this idea. Let me know if you think you want to try it. And, you know, but I also know that me being who I am, I do have something to offer and I can reciprocate. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I've worked for.
It's not just an ask.
Yeah, and I've worked for that my entire life, you know. So yeah, but it's different. You know, I think one of my favorites, I did for my album in 2020, I did a collaboration beer with Stone Cloud. And like that was probably like was probably one of my favorites, just because it was like something different. Not different for like me, but different for like rap, like that, you know what I'm saying? Like as a rapper, like especially here, it's like, oh dang, he did a beer, like, you know what I'm saying? So that was cool. I'm doing a collaboration right now with William and Lauren. Do you know who she is? You should have her on too. She's dope. But she has a.
You talking about the boutique?
The suits
and stuff?
Yeah,
I have one of those blazers.
Yeah,
yeah, she did. Okay, yeah.
So she and I did we're doing a collaboration suit. And it's like Eastside with Love suit, and so you open up the suit and the liner is like Eastside map, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's awesome.
And then we have socks and a tie, you know, and that's me. And we did those with Shop Good. So it's me, William and Lauren and Shop Good.
Oh man.
So that's like, you know, just things like that, you know, are cool. Plus it's, you know, it's really good business, and it's, you know, it's just something cool and unique, you know what I mean? And it's just a way, you know, to like expand both of our brands, you know, co-promote, like all those things. So that's one of my favorite ones. The collaboration stuff I do with the Oklahoma City Philharmonic is fun. We just did so I did the Thunder halftime show with them, and we wrote a song for Clara Luper's 100th birthday, and we took that song and we toured different churches in the city performing. And so that, that was fun. But just, what I mean, like, just, I think part of it is just like trying to like be really creative and think out of the box of what's possible, and understanding like, like there are always people who you might miss. There are people who don't even know I rap that, they just like me for food, or they just like me for, the collaborations that I've done with, William and Lauren, or they, you know what I'm saying? Or there are people who don't even know that I do food, and they just like me because I rap, you know what I'm saying? So, and then realizing like that, like all those things are possible and nothing is, really impossible. And, just keep trying and just keep going. So, but yeah, I think all of them are fun. And they all, kind of serve a different purpose. One of my, another collaboration I did was with the Memorial Museum, and that started from just a tweet, you know what I'm saying? And I tweeted something, and Steve Blackmeyer saw it and said, you need to meet, Kerry Watkins, and he hooked us up. And so, now, we collaborate for the memorial, and I run and help to get more, Black people running, and, and different things like that. Another collaboration is with Red Coyote running. I started running in the memorial, and then they helped sponsor they helped sponsor the walk to McAllister I did for Julius Jones. And now we collaborate for a 5K on the east side for Juneteenth. You know what I mean? So just, like you said, it's just being willing to collaborate and try new things, and it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like these things have snowballed for you, right? They've really created space for a lot of the things that your value system seeks to promote, right? Something that I'm curious about is just in business, what's been the thing that surprised you the most? Maybe something you didn't anticipate, or something that was just like, okay, I didn't see that coming.
I'll say just having the restaurant, and I'm working on my second one right now. I'm doing a breakfast brunch concept on the East, but I think it just was really humbling to realize, like, I gotta do more than just be cool to get people to come in here. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of work that goes into it. And just like, I remember like just the small amount of acting that I did do or have done, it gave me a lot of respect for the people who do it, because it's not easy. It's hard. You know what I'm saying? And there are people who just think like, all I gotta do is look good and I'm a great actor. All I got, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody likes me, so I'll be great at acting. And I'll try to tell them, like, bro, it's not that easy. And so, I had that same humbling experience with going to the restaurant business whenever all my friends who have restaurants were going, listen, this is the hardest thing I've ever done, And I realized, like, yeah, it's not easy. And it was humbling, and I couldn't just walk in it and think, man, I'm JB, so this is about to be cracking because people like me, you know what I'm saying? Or everybody know who I am, so they gonna pull up. It's not like that.
I think some people probably have, you've experienced people that are, I'm gonna be the best rapper.
Yeah,
like,
no doubt.
You don't even know.
Yeah, you don't even know. Like, yeah, it's not like that at all.
That's good. Well, you talked about a couple of the things that are next. What's maybe something that's down the road that you're like, I really want to do this, and here's why. Like, what's unfinished business that you have for the future that you're looking to tackle?
Man, I don't know about unfinished business. I know I'm starting another thing. I'm starting a violence interruption program. We'll probably be launching in July. And what that is it's a program to, help. And then we're gonna start on the east side in Ward 7, but it's something that, I've always kind of had in the back of my mind. And then it's also something that I've kind of already been doing in some ways, and something that a lot of people do. They just aren't, it isn't their job. They don't get paid to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's just who they are,
Yeah.
And so, we'll be providing, services for people. We will be partnering with, other programs around the city. But violence interruption is whenever you say it, people always think like, you about to go and jump in front of people with guns and be like, don't shoot each other, y'all. Let's make peace. Like, that's not what it is. It's that, we, because it's, and you have to have a certain role in the community to even do this. But, say like, there's a shooting, what I mean? Or I could just tell you a personal experience, I guess. Say like when my brother got shot, right? And then if all my family knows who did it and knows, you know what I'm saying? And then, we want to retaliate, then me as a violence interrupter will meet the family at the hospital, you know what I'm saying? And, figure out ways that I can be of service for this family so that they don't want to go out and retaliate.
So it doesn't perpetuate the cycle. That's really good.
And so,
instead of the moment of violence, you're trying to break the cycle of violence,
right?
And interrupt that cycle.
Yeah,
that's
cool. and there's there's different, you know what I'm saying, different scenarios, obviously, but it'll look different depending on what the situation is. But what our part of what the goal is to reduce the homicides in Oklahoma City, reduce the gun violence, and then help to provide resources for those people who are caught up in those situations. So,
you think you're getting this, maybe the, I don't know, municipal or government support for that, or is it something you guys are just going to be doing on your own?
It's going to start on our own. It's going to take, buy-in from the city to sustain it. But I'm already having those conversations right now. A part of the 21 CP recommendation that the city got has recommendations for a program like the one that I'm starting, and so and I've just started I'll be having monthly meetings with our police chief. I'll be having monthly meetings with our DA. I've already met with the city manager and the mayor. Of course, I'm in constant communication with Councilwoman Nice, Councilman Cooper, and Councilwoman Jo Beth Hammond. So everybody I just named, has expressed, support. I don't think I think if you ask anybody in the city who has to, who deals with this on any level, they would say, yeah, we want to do all we can to reduce violence in Oklahoma City. You know what I'm saying? So, so I think for me moving forward, it's going to be taking this pilot program and really creating a great and sustainable network, but also showing that it can be successful and just, having those partnerships that are willing to, help, and then also getting those key people behind the work as well. So,
well, I think it's a true testament to your care and concern for people to go from entertaining them to, helping to provide, having some sort of entrepreneurial impetus behind it, business, being able to make money
Yeah,
And
can I
then
say one thing about that too?
yeah, go for it.
And part of the business, ownership and stuff is it's just important for kids to see people like them, who own stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because, we never even owned our house growing up. You know what I'm saying? So like for me to have ownership in something is wild. You know what I mean? So, I know for me to meet somebody who's young, looks like me, and they say, yeah, I own this right here. I'm like, dang, okay. So that means like I could own something.
I could do that too.
You know what I mean? So that's also part of it. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's powerful. I think to go from entertaining people to being a role model like that in business, and then as well, designing programs that really help the community and wrapping it all and being connected to the community with collaborations. It goes to show what you started this whole conversation with is being intentional. Mm-hmm. And I think that, it's really hard to brag on being intentional. You just do it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really powerful tone sentiment that I've picked up from your story, and why people listen to you is because of that stuff. It's the desire to help is so apparent, and the desire to do something is so apparent. And I think that it's really meaningful to have people like you on this show for others to see, like, I can do something and it matter. Mm-hmm. Not just for a financial outcome. I can do something and it can change the community. I can do something and it will affect people. I can do something that matters to me, that it bonds with my value system, that can change something about the world. It doesn't have to be change the whole world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The thing I love about your story is this thing, like, I care about the East Side. I care about this community. And some people they quit if it's not going to be big enough for them.
Yeah.
And I think it's really powerful. And I love the fact that you said yes to come and have this conversation. And I loved sitting here talking with you and hearing about it. I'm inspired. I definitely want to go have some, is it called black crust? Like that is the pizza? Because I haven't had this before.
Yeah, I tell everybody that works there, I say, if somebody asks what's in the crust, just tell them it's melanin. But it's black. But we also have, regular crust. But people who used to get the regular crust, they end up, trying the black one, and then they just end up with the black all the time.
Man,
and then
awesome.
we also have cauliflower crust too for, people who, don't like the carbs or the gluten. So,
well, JB, I really appreciate you coming. I do have some rapid fire questions I'd like to ask you, if you're open to it. All right. What's the most unrealistic pizza combination you've ever made?
Unrealistic, probably pineapple and barbecue sauce.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
It didn't fly.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't mine. Like, we did a collaboration with somebody, and we let them pick the style of pick the ingredients, and that's what they picked.
That's like, it's a no go.
I wouldn't mess with it.
They probably ate it.
Yeah.
What's one thing people would be surprised to learn about you? Because you have a pretty well documented life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What would be surprise to people?
Let me see. Hold on. I can tell you something. Don't even know. Can I come back to that one?
We'll come back to that.
Okay. That's a good rapid fire question.
Yeah, there you go. Well, what's your favorite restaurant besides Eastside Pizza House?
In Oklahoma City?
Anywhere.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with Oklahoma City. I gotta pick one.
You can say two.
Okay. Right now, I really been killing Frida.
Yeah. Ate there last night. What do you get?
Tuna tartare. I'll order 2 tuna tartare. Just eat those with a fork. But I like everything on the menu. I've tried it all.
That's sea bass though.
Sea bass is fire. Yeah. And then probably black walnut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's smoky old fashioned's pretty
good. He makes the best old
Isn't
fashions, yo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. Well, which historical figure from the East Side has impacted you the most?
Clara Luper.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm really Roscoe Dungy, he was revolutionary, and it really, has been inspiring me a lot more recently. But Clara Looper, because I actually knew her, a lot of people in my family, where she taught my dad, my our families are friends. My Aunt Gwen was one of the original sit-inners, you know what I'm saying? So, like her ways and her philosophies have been, passed down to me, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And she was a hero to me just as a young kid, mm-hmm. like growing up, so probably her, she is the East Side, you know what I mean? And she is education in Oklahoma City. And I think that, her understanding of, like having those, having the sit-ins be led by children, I think was really more genius than people really understand or talk about, because what she understood was, what it would look like to see adults like mistreating kids. You know what I'm saying? It's different whenever you got adults, two grown people, going back and forth, or you got an adult sitting there, somebody being rude to them, or spitting on them or something like that. That's an adult. When you got the youngest one was 9. When you have a 9-year-old sitting there and a grown person mistreating somebody's child, it don't matter what color you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to feel something when you see that. And so the fact that she understood that, I think, was genius.
Man, that's awesome. Well, what's one lesson that every entrepreneur needs to learn?
You got to always be dependable and be prepared.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Who'd play JB in a movie?
I don't know. So whenever we were doing all this Julius Jones work, and we did the walk to McAllister, and like the day of the execution, and whenever we got back and we were just like decompressing, over how crazy that day was, we were talking about like, man, this is like gonna be a crazy movie, because the BBC actually came and did a documentary and followed us around for months. And it'll be out hopefully one day soon. But we were like, who would play JB? And I was thinking, oh man, somebody said, have you seen the NWA movie?
Oh yeah.
The dude who played Eazy-E?
Oh.
They were like, he'd be great. Yeah, so I don't know.
That's funny.
I like to think of myself as a Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, there you go.
But I'm cool with him. The dude who played Eazy-E too.
That's good. Well, what's a hobby you enjoy outside of music and business?
Outside, I like to chill with my kids, hang out with them. We watch movies, we play games. I have 2 girls, they paint my nails, we play, house, all that.
I got the opposite. I got 4 boys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's no nail paint. We're playing football in the
yard. So I like to do that. I like to, sit on my porch, have a cigar and, old fashioned or some Jameson and just chill, man. Like, that's good for me.
I love that you just said your favorite hobby is to chill. That's so good.
I learned that, like, part of chilling, a part of working hard all the time is so that you can chill. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And people are always like, why you do so many things? And how do you have all this time to be doing so many different things and all this work? And it's like, I know there's going to be a day when I want to just chill. Mm-hmm. So I got to get all this work done so I can. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So.
All right. Who is your favorite hip hop artist to listen to while you cook?
Probably anybody from Wu-Tang. Okay. Either anybody from Wu-Tang or Pac or Nas. But usually I could just put on my Wu-Tang playlist and because there's 9 members, I got 9 different artists with all their different albums. And then I got all the Wu-Tang albums. So like, it's never repetitive.
Yeah.
So usually my Wu-Tang.
All right. All right. Back to the surprise question. What's one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
One thing people be so that's what I don't know. Like I think of something and I'm like I'm not surprised by that. I can juggle. That might be a surprise to some people.
What's something your mom would be surprised to know about you? I'm just kidding.
Oh shoot. She wouldn't be surprised to know nothing. She know I'm wild. So
that's good. Hey, well, I just appreciate you coming down and having the conversation with us. It meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to us. For you to say yeah, and just appreciate you coming. Appreciate your story, and we'll do our best to keep giving you a microphone to tell it.
Thank you. I appreciate the time and just thank you because sometimes and it's important. Because, you don't like, what I'm saying? Like, I get to just be on here and talk and, talk about my things and what I do, but you don't have to, care. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to care enough to be like, man, let's, you know what I mean? So I really appreciate it because I think that, people like y'all and y'all's position who provide this platform for us to look like somebody and look cool. People think it's because of them and it's not because of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's good.
And so I just really appreciate opportunity because you could have anybody, you know what I'm saying? And thank you for letting me be on here with y'all.
Absolutely. Thanks, JB. Good to get to know you, man.
You too, brother.
Absolutely.